Hey everyone, my name is Brian McNulty, and I'm starting a channel specifically about aerospace engineering. And I wanted to do this because there's not a lot of aerospace engineering channels. You can find a lot of stuff about electrical engineering and mechanical engineering. Mechanical engineering, by the way, is very similar to aerospace in the education that you'll get, but there's not a whole lot of stuff on airplanes. There's a few channels, and but I wanted to make more. So I wanted to change the idea that, we can have access to aerospace knowledge. And I'm currently an undergraduate in the program right now. I'm somewhere in between my second and third year. And this channel is basically going to be for high school students who are looking to get into the aerospace engineering programs at their local college or university. And even undergraduate students who would like to watch YouTube videos related to the content, since, like I mentioned, there aren't that many. So I guess I just wanted to start this video off as an introduction to myself, as well as some useful things you can get started on to have a head start in this program, as it is very rigorous and it's very math heavy, and there's a lot of technical things involved with it. So I guess the first thing I want to talk about is the education aspect of it. I kind of just picked this degree after doing music major for a year, and I'd been playing guitar for about 13 years, and I found that my music teachers, although they were great musicians, they couldn't answer some of the questions I had, such as assigning odd numbers to quarter note beats and stuff like that. And so I really felt like the degree wasn't going to be worth it, especially after I looked up the median salary. And you can look that up on the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. My major specifically was professional guitar, and it turned out that just wasn't going to cut it for me. And so I thought to myself, after a year of attending community college, that I should probably do something that is very worth my time and something that I've always had an interest in. And so, me always being fascinated with space and particles and air and chemistry and things like that, and mathematics, I thought, engineering would be a good subject topic. But I always found like things like civil engineering and stuff like that to be a little boring. It seemed like, that's, although pretty rigorous as well, and I'll give credit where credit is due. It is difficult and it's very useful in society. I just felt like, being on my deathbed, I wouldn't be super proud of that thing. And I always tell people, if we only get one life, then you might as well make it count, and you might as well do something extraordinary, or at least die trying. And so I picked aerospace engineering. And later I found out that there were two sections of aerospace engineering. There's aeronautical engineering and there's astronautical engineering. So my obsession with space and rockets and stuff like that, although I knew nothing about them when I started the program, I picked the astronautical side, and it's proven to be one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I'm not done yet, but it is a very great field of study, and I think it's the greatest things that people can think about with our human minds. So I just wanted to get started by talking about some course requirements that you need to complete this degree. Like I said before, it is very rigorous, and it's much more stressful than I thought it would be when I started. I had no idea the scope of this thing, when I just registered with the counselor at my school. So to high school students, I would highly recommend getting ahead on your calculus. Get that done as fast as you can, because most of the courses that are required by the university are going to use all of that stuff heavily. And you want to kind of jump into computer programming right away in college. And so some of the courses that you're going to want to take are chemistry. Get your biology out of the way, because biology is not going to play a huge role in it. but they do at most universities want that course to be completed. And um, so you'll have to go through general chemistry 1 and 2. For the university I plan on going to, which is Arizona State, um, I am not required to do organic chemistry. Fortunately, I've heard that class is like very demanding, but if you do, I mean, that's more of a reason to get ahead on your chemistry. The math is very heavy though. So once you're doing calculus 1, once you're done with that, get into calculus 2 and linear algebra. Those are very important classes. You're going to use a lot of MATLAB, is what I've heard in aerospace engineering anyway. And MATLAB essentially stands for Matrix Laboratory. And linear algebra is math that's very focused on matrices. So you're going to want to have a really good understanding of that and understand what a matrix is, matrix operations, orthogonality, eigenvectors. All of that stuff is really important. Systems of equations, that's where it starts basically. Also physics. Get into university physics as fast as you can. That is going to be calculus-based physics, and so you're going to want to have a strong foundation in calculus. So pay attention in those calculus courses. After that, you're going to be doing calculus 3 and modern differential equations. And so that has a lot to do with things like mass flow rate, changes in internal energy within a system of rocket engines, specifically. There's plenty of things that calculus is good for. Its usefulness is pretty much unbridled in the field of science. It is the underpinning language of all science and engineering. So I can't emphasize that enough. Calculus is a really good thing to get into. And then after that, you're going to be doing rigid bodies, statics. So that has to deal with systems that aren't moving. And then you go into dynamics later, which has to do with things that are moving. And I haven't taken that class yet, but I've heard it's very difficult. You're going to have to take a CAD course, which is computer-aided design or computer-aided engineering. You'll find that if you're good with the computer coding and the CAD softwares, that it will make all these complex calculations that you learned, calculus 1 through 3 and university physics 1 to 2, you can now do them, if you know how to, you can do them quickly if you know computer-aided design. Now, around like your 5th term, I'm just looking at the ASU major map right now, by the way, and around your 5th term, you're going to have to go into things like aerodynamics and signals and systems, which I heard are not easy classes at all. I mean, I hear that they are really something else. You're going to do intro to thermodynamics. You're going to take some 300 level statistics courses and system dynamics classes. So these are all important. Going into term 6, I mean, this is where things just get really exciting for me. I can't wait. Space vehicle dynamics and control are going to be a huge thing. Aerospace structures and materials, high-speed aerodynamics. I'm super interested in supersonic speed. Just because the laws of physics there are so uncertain. The faster you go, the more gravity you have, or the farther back in time you go, the laws of physics kind of break down, as we know from things like the Big Bang Theory and other stuff like that. So that's where it gets really interesting to me. And then we have fundamentals of spacecraft design in term 7, along with rocket propulsion. And then you're just going to take some electives. And then the last term we have here is space systems design. And then you just have some upper technical electives and upper division humanities, arts, and social behavioral sciences. You don't necessarily have to take them in that order, but it looks like from this map that you should, if you want to get this done in 4 years, which I am not doing. I'm taking it slow so I can kind of take everything in. But if you want to do this in 4 years, you be ready to take 16, 17 credit hours every semester of very technical courses. And it's very difficult to work a full-time job while doing that as well. So keep that in mind. It's not realistic for everybody to do that. Some people have that opportunity. Some people have the mind for it. Personally, not me. I think that's too much. But, I'm not everybody. So that is kind of my overview of, what the education requirements are going to be for the aerospace engineering astronautical section. of the degree. And so, when you go into this, just make sure to take it seriously. You're going to be dealing with, if you get the degree and you become a rocket scientist, there's a reason why they have that metaphor. It's not rocket science, right? It means, it's not that hard, meaning rocket science is very hard, very difficult, and there's a lot to it. It's not very intuitive. So that's what I have to say about the educational requirements. And like I said, this is for high school students and people who are in undergrad who are considering switching their major over to aerospace, or just want to know more about it, get a different perspective. And so I'm here to offer that. Stay tuned for future videos. I'll be talking about the more technical aspect of aerospace and kind of uploading videos as I learn about aerospace systems and more calculus and physics based stuff. So if you enjoyed the video, just press subscribe at the bottom of the screen. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll answer that to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.